I want you to imagine yourself walking into a pet store and seeing all the tails wagging and all the smiling faces of excited customers, soon to be new pet owners. Take a look around the store. You see bright colors, new toys, cute little outfits and accessories. It sounds like a dream come true, right? Well, now I want you to imagine yourself walking into an animal shelter, and you see all the sad faces of dogs and cats just waiting to be noticed and being taken to their new forever family. The colors are not as bright, and there are not aisles of pet accessories to choose from. I'm not saying animal shelters are dark and gloomy all the time, but don't you see a difference in the atmosphere? Animals in pet shelters are often overlooked, which is very sad to think about because it can change the whole outcome of their entire life. With that said, according to the ASPCA, 6.5 million pets enter pet shelters every year, and only 3.2 million actually leave. Hi, my name is Stephanie Pino, and I love animals and I've always had a soft spot for them. I have a dog of my own, and her name is Susie, and we got her from a foster home, and foster homes are used to make room within pet shelters. She is a miniature pinscher Chihuahua mix, and we got her when she was around 10 months. She is now 9 years old and the light of my life, and I will do anything for her. And I will be mentioning her within this speech. Today I will be discussing the common misconceptions people often have about sheltered animals and the increased rates of adoption rates among sheltered animals and what happens to dogs who are not adopted. People often believe that pet store animals are superior because of the many inaccurate assumptions people have about sheltered animals. Here are a few misconceptions. Many people think that the animals within shelters all have health issues, but according to Julian Bloom's article, an animal will not be on the adoption floor if they're unhealthy and not adoptable. If an unwell animal is brought to the shelter, they will be taken to a rescue and they will analyze their health condition there and rehabilitate them until they're adoptable. For example, my dog Susie, that I mentioned earlier, had Demodex mange, which is a mite all over her body, which you can see here, and she had other health conditions resulting from that. She was not adoptable until she was healthy, and we did have to give her some medication in the beginning, which was very manageable, but now she is healthy as ever. Another misconception is people think that the dogs or animals are in the shelter in the first place because they have behavioral issues. However, most of the time when a dog is in the shelter, it is most likely because of the owner and not a problem with the pet itself. Some examples of problems with the owners would be their living conditions no longer allow animals, they have allergies, or they no longer can afford taking care of an animal. In addition, some animals might seem to have behavioral issues because they're in an environment such as the animal shelter that is very scary and unusual for them. An additional misconception is that people think that they will not be able to find the kind of pet they want. But according to petfinder.com, some shelters have waiting lists for specific breeds, so you just have to be patient. Also, shelters have pets with a range of ages, which means that it'll be very difficult for you to not be able to find a pet that fits your needs. An alternative option is to search for your future pet in breed-specific rescues, so you do not need to settle on a specific breed. Now that these misunderstandings have been cleared up, let's look at the percentage of pets adopted each year. This graph shows the increase in adoption rates among sheltered animals. Mel Hansen found that the shelter adoption rates were at 53% in 2016 and increased to 60.9% in 2021. The 6.2% jump from 2019 to 2021 is most likely due to COVID-19, which indicates that adopting animals from shelters has gained popularity since the pandemic. This is a step in the right direction, and these rates can increase even further if people realize the importance of adopting from shelters. Now, I know you're wondering what happened to the other percentage. Let's take a look at specifically dogs. Now, you might be asking yourself, what happens to the dogs who are not adopted? Well, most shelters cannot refuse a dog Because of this, they need to make room for incoming dogs. In order to make room, a dog will have to be euthanized, which means they will be injected with lethal chemicals into their leg, which causes them to become unconscious and die a painless death, unfortunately. The ASPCA found that 920,000 dogs are euthanized each year. And according to Nicole Cosgrove, if a shelter is at full capacity, the average amount of time they will be able to keep a dog is only 5 days, and if a home is not found for them, then they will be at risk to be euthanized. In addition, temperament tests are given to dogs when they first arrive at the shelter, and if they show signs of aggression, then they will be euthanized without having a chance to even showcase their personality or how they will truly act. Once again, animal shelters can be a scary and unusual environment for dogs. However, on the bright side, Cosgrove noted that in the past decade, the number of euthanized animals has gone down from 2.6 million per year to 1.5 million. While this is a good sign, there is still a hefty amount of dogs losing their lives for reasons out of their control. It's looking up for sheltered animals, but there are many animals where their lives need to be saved. Now that you have heard my speech, how many of you would be willing to adopt every single animal that is at risk to be euthanized? Although I do realize that that is a hefty request to make, how many of you would be willing to consider getting your next pet from an animal shelter instead of a pet store? Thank you for your time.